Civil registration is one of the departments under the Ministry of Immigration and Registration of Persons.
This is a department which is mandated by the government to register all births and deaths that take place in the country. We register both Kenyans and non-Kenyans. We also do register the events that take place for Kenyans residing outside the country. We are able to compile statistics in respect of the births and deaths taking place within a given month, and we normally give that information to inform the government's planning purposes.
The effectiveness of the civil registration system has been hampered by certain issues. Some of these are delays in record submission from the grassroots, certification application processing, returns and report preparation, shortage of staff and inefficient manual systems.
We actually serve at least 2,000 persons or clients per day.
Come on Friday.
The challenge here has been a big number of clients coming in, and it has actually stretched our resources.
Our operations are completely manual. It takes long, since it's manual, to get access to a record. This leads to queues and in essence also leads to many complaints from the public, because if the public cannot get services on time, they'll definitely complain.
Like for my son, it has been a problem trying to get one since he was born, and he was born I think 6 years ago, and it has become a problem. We've not managed to access it.
It was very hard for me to get my birth certificate when I was doing my exams in primary. I had to keep on going to the government offices for my birth certificate every now and then. They send me back home, ask me to come back the next day. Time wasn't on my side, but finally at the end of it all, I was able to get the certificate. But it was quite a tiresome and hectic process.
This is, however, soon going to change with the digitization initiative that is ongoing at the moment.
One of our key objectives in ICTA has always been to make it easier for citizens to get services. Thus, for us, the Civil Registration Department was an obvious candidate for digitization.
The CRD has just completed the process of development and installation of a civil registration system. It has also commenced a second phase of digitization of records, which will complete the current automation process and further drastically re-engineer the current process of how registration is carried out.
In terms of getting to manage the project effectively, we have lobbied for resources to enable us to monitor all the activities of this project as they occur across the counties.
The role of ICTA in the CRD project is really a technical partner and a facilitator. Under the TCIP project, we had funds to automate most of the registries in this country, at least those which handle close to 75% of our day-to-day interaction between the citizen and the government. We have other partners who are the consumers of the data in Kenya, such as the banks and the different organizations like Safaricom, which will need to validate the details of people through a certain process. And we anticipate to grow the stakeholders who will leverage on this data for other uses.
The digitization program incorporates training and hands-on facilitation of the persons at CRD to use the system, and will continue to monitor and facilitate the staff at CRD until they are proficient. The first thing that the digitization project is aiming to achieve is provide in a digital format the paper records for purposes of preservation of those records, and then the implementation of an electronic document management system, EDMS, for purposes of ease of access, retrieval and archival of those records.
When the customers are served within a faster period of time, the tendency or the temptation to bribe so that the services can be faster will be eliminated. And then at the end of the day, when the customers or members of the public are served within a short time, it will free them to go and engage in other nation-building activities.
The web-based civil registration system has already been installed at the Civil Registration System headquarters in Haas Plaza, with existing connectivity to the 8 districts located at each of the 9 provincial headquarters. The digitized records will be organized using a comprehensive document management system, which will allow for structured integration and transmission to the civil registration system and retrieval for processing into statistical reports and legal documents. Despite training of staff and agents as well as mobilization of communities, the Civil Registration Department encounters certain challenges in its operations.
The biggest challenge that we have to contend with currently is the sheer size of this project. This is a project which is expected to cover all the 47 counties across the country. We haven't had a project of this magnitude before. We have activities that are supposed to be implemented at the registry level or at the county level. We need to ensure that these activities are being carried out according to the terms of reference of the responsible contractors.
In a situation like this one, you are working on live documents and you don't want to interrupt or disrupt service delivery. To clear the backlog, contractors would bring up to 200 people to work in that environment. Therefore, we had to identify suitable spaces. Sometimes where there was none, we had to improvise, and that caused challenges.
So our biggest challenge, which we had to overcome, is to ensure that we have a complete set of data for all citizens, number one. Number two is to ensure that the indexed data from these records really matches and it's useful to the intended purpose, which is for really validating the user of certain identifications as fully as possible.
When you look at some cultures, they bury their people the same day that they die. Someone dies in the morning, at around 4, he's already buried. They may not even need that burial permit, so it goes unregistered. So it lowers the registration coverage. It is not really 100%.
It is the hope of the civil registrars that many more Kenyans will register.
Maybe strict measures should be inflicted on those who don't do the registration properly.
We are very grateful for this program of digitization, and we are hoping that if the whole country is covered, we are going to serve the citizens of this country very well.
As a Kenyan, I think it's the best step the government can do to make easy access of records for Kenyans, me myself included as a Kenyan.
In future, I wouldn't like my children to go through the same process of getting their birth certificate. I hope it's going to be much easier, more convenient and efficient.
This record will be stored centrally and will be accessed through web-based linkages. So you'll be able to obtain this service from any part of this country. So that is the kind of efficiency that we're looking for.
Digitization in any organization is a beginning point for building applications to serve users, both for the back-end applications and for the front-end where you serve the citizens. Take an example of what KRA does today with PIN numbers. If you come and give me your invoice, I just need to sit on my laptop and key in and find out whether it's a genuine certificate or not. So that's the level of efficiency we expect when this process and the accompanying applications are in place.